got them in the office. So, thank you, Verna.
Thank you, Verna.
Glad you're here. Glad we have a chance once again to just offer ourselves to God and see whatever it is that He's going to do and praise Him for it. So let's just devote ourselves to prayer right now. Can we do that? Gracious God, Lord, we adore You. We just want to spend some time together to be able to say two things: that You are our God and we are Your people. So, Lord, we want to just praise You. We want to be able to sing. We want to be able to pray, to think, to meditate, to listen, to all these different things, but ultimately for Your glory. Lord, as we leave here today, we would love to be inspired. We would love to be encouraged. We'd love, but ultimately, we just want to please You. We do so in Jesus' name. And all God's people said, Amen.
Amen. Let's stand together this morning. No grumbling. Bring those knees into submission. Tell those joints they are going to praise. Come praise and glorify our God, the Father of our Lord. In Christ He has in heavenly realms His blessings on us poured. For pure and blameless in His sight He destined us to be. And now we've been adopted through His Son eternally. Hallelujah to that, amen. To the praise of Your glory, to the praise of Your mercy and grace, to the praise of Your glory. You are the God who saves. Praise His name. Come praise and glorify our God, who gives His grace in Christ. In Him our sins are washed away, redeemed through sacrifice. In Him God has made known to us the mystery of His will, that Christ should be the head of all His purpose to fulfill. To the praise of His glory, to the praise of Your mercy and grace, to the praise of Your glory. You are the God who saves. To the praise of Your glory, to the praise of Your mercy and grace, to the praise of Your glory. You are the God who saves. Come praise and glorify our God, for we believe the word, and through our faith we have a seal, the seal of the Lord. The Spirit guarantees our hope until redemption's done, until we join in endless praise to God the Three-in-One. Hallelujah! To the praise of Your glory, to the praise of Your mercy and grace, to the praise of Your glory. You are the God who saves. To the praise of Your glory, to the praise of Your mercy and grace, to the praise of Your glory. You are the God who saves. Hallelujah. Say that again. You are the God who saves. That is our God, our waymaker, our promise keeper. He is the God who saves. Hallelujah. Praise his name. Oh, go ahead and have a seat if you'd like. We could not sing that song sitting down. No, that's a declaration, saints. That's a declaration that everything that's in this place that is not of God is crumbled underneath. That promise, that salvation, that total restoration that Jesus, through his obedience to death, gave us. When we sing, "You are the God that saves" there, I can just see all those Baal worshipers. Man, they started shuddering when that fire fell down. You know what I'm talking about? If you haven't read that account lately, read that account. Read about the prophet coming there and saying, "What's wrong with your God? Not listening to you? Taking a potty break right now or something?" And then he said, "Let me show you the God who saves." And he does. I want to just quiet for a moment. Just ask the Spirit to really permeate our being here. Hallelujah. Come, tear down the walls I built up, every wall I built up, every wall I built up, 'cause you deserve every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart. Lord, I am trusting that you are a faithful Father, and all that you have, it is good. You're a generous giver, your love's like no other. Won't you come and break through to me over and over and over again? I am bringing my heart to you with open hands. Closer and closer, you're drawing me in as the depths of my heart lay before you again. Over and over and over again, I am bringing my heart to you with open hands. Closer and closer and drawing me in as the depths of my heart lay before you again. Lord, I am trusting that you are a faithful Father, and all that you have, it is good. You're a generous giver, your love's like no other. Won't you come and break through to me over and over and over again? I am bringing my heart to you with open hands. Closer and closer, you're drawing me in as the depths of my heart lay before you again. Come, tear down the walls I built up, every wall I built up, every wall I built up, 'cause you deserve every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart. Over and over and over again, I am bringing my heart to you with open hands. Closer and closer, you're drawing me in as the depths of my heart lay before you again. Over and over were drawing me in as the depths of my heart lay before you again. Come, tear down the walls I built up, every wall I built up, every wall I built up, 'cause you deserve every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart. Oh, come, tear down the walls I built up, every wall I built up, every wall I built up, 'cause you deserve every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart. Come, tear down the walls I built up, every wall I built up, every wall I built up, 'cause you deserve every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart, every piece of my heart. And he does. He does deserve every piece. Every piece. Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song, and you are good. Good, oh, you are good, good, oh, you are good, good, oh, you are good, good, oh. Let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, he is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song, and you are good. Good, oh, you are good, good, oh, yes, you are good, you are so good, yes, you're good, oh, Lord, you're good, you're so good, Lord, oh, you're never gonna let me down. 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 You're never gonna let me down, 'cause you are good, good, oh, sing it out, he's good, yes, he's good, you are so good, Lord, you are good, no one like you, Lord. us out. You are never gonna let. You are never gonna let me down. You're 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 never gonna let me down. 'Cause you are good, good. Oh, you are good. You're so good, Lord. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you are good. You're so good, Lord. You know, some people say that, I'm not sure where all that's coming from. The ringings. You know, some people say that we just sing it over and over and over. But you know what? What I see it like water. Water. I need to just be cleansed of everything that's hit me during the week. I need that water. I need my mouth to confess so that my ears can hear, so that my heart remembers the promises of God. You're never going to let me down. Yeah, this thing's coming at me, but you're never going to let me down. But no, you're never going to let me down. Amen? That's us. We are the people of the promise. We aren't the people of whatever's left over. We're the people of the first fruit. You're never going to let me down. So I don't know what was trying to go on there with us not being able to hear that in our head over the ringing. But you know what? You, God, you're faithful. You're always there. Even when I don't feel it, you're there. Even when I don't see it, you are there. Amen. And if that's all we get from this morning, that is everything we need to stand on. You're there. You're never going to leave me. You're never going to leave me. Does anybody else need that this morning? Just me. He's the God of the promise. Hallelujah to his name.
Hallelujah.
Pastor Bill.
Well, we had this tradition of what we call call to community. It's a chance for us to just interact a little bit together, and so we say hi and do all that stuff. It's a chance to welcome one another. But even though you may notice that Sammy and Umberto are not here this morning. That's because Amelia came this morning. And just want to be able to announce that, but why don't we go ahead and rise and say hi to each other. So we are week 3 into our series on the fruit of the Spirit by hitting the second one, because we had an overview the first week, and last week we got to talk about love. And, you know, I've made the point, we're calling this series Principled Living in an Unprincipled World. And the idea behind that is to say that if we are to live into what God has for us, if we live out the fruit of the Spirit, then it's going to put us at odds. We're going to be different than the world generally. The thing is if we look at that list that's in Galatians 5, and we look at the list of the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, conscientiousness, self-control. As we look at those things, I don't see much on that list that people generally in our society wouldn't go, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't know that there are very many of them they would really push back against. Maybe. There might be, we might see in a few weeks. But what we find, I think, is that often there's a couple of different errors that can happen. And as we pointed out with love last week, I think people just don't really understand what the biblical understanding of love is. And they misunderstood it. And because of that, they're not able to live it out. But there's another ongoing issue of being able to live out the fruit of the Spirit, in that we live in ways that actually interfere with our ability to do it. It's not that we don't want it. It's that we don't experience it because we are focused and working on something different. And in this case, I believe that we settle for far too little. Anybody remember where I get that phrase from? Nobody. I don't do this quote enough. I thought I did it way too much, where C.S. Lewis was talking, and I'm not going to get the quote exactly, but how he said, you know, it's not that we as people want too much, it's that we settle for far too little. That we are children playing in mud puddles because we can't imagine what a holiday at the beach would look like. That while we settle for the silliness of things in this world, of momentary pleasures, when infinite joy is available to us. And that is so true, and we're going to talk about this morning, we're going to talk about joy, because for the most part, while I think people would like that, and we say we want that, truthfully, we pursue only happiness. I think that's generally, that's what our world wants. If you ask parents generally what they want for their children, they're going to talk about happiness. It didn't take long. I just did a Google search, if I can do this, that we settle for happiness. You know what I want my kids to be when they grow up? Happy. That's what I want for my kids. Now, I'm just, picking on this one t-shirt, but I hear it all the time. What do you want for your kids? What do you long for them? What do you hope? I just want them to be happy. And that's what we want for ourselves too. How about this? I want to live my life without stress and worries. I don't need to be rich and famous. I just want to be happy. I think that sentiment is very common. That our culture just generally, we say we want happiness. And who doesn't? Who doesn't want a life of no stress and no worries? We want a life of ease and fun and excitement, because that's really what we mean by happy. We want the kind of happy you might have at being surprised with the perfect gift. We want the kind of happy you might have when you have a happy birthday. We might want happy in the sense of a life without worry, that we can just, that the circumstances around us are such that we can just smile all the time. And we recognize that happiness, and we begin to pinpoint different areas of our lives when we say, yes, if this would change, I could be happy. If only I could have a relationship with somebody, a deep, meaningful relationship with another individual. If I could have that significant other, then I would be happy. If only I could find that person that I could marry, then I would be happy. And if only my spouse actually started behaving the way I wanted them to, then I could be happy. Yeah. And we get there. We begin to say, if we can control these kind of things, or maybe, if I could have leisure or certain activities, if I didn't have to go to work day in and day out, then I would be happy. If I didn't have to go to school and I could just play, then I would be happy. And we begin to imagine this world and these if-then. When this happens, then I can finally be happy. And the thing is many times we can work. We have a lot of control over our lives, more than probably any other people in human history. We can condition our air. We can control so much of what we have. If we don't like somebody, we can silence them on social media. We can control more and more of our lives. So we begin to move in those directions. And you know what? It's great. Until it isn't. You see, the first point, and first blank in your outline if you'd like to follow along, is we're not going to find happiness in the outside world. We're just not going to find it. At some level, we might have it temporarily, and I say it's great until it isn't, and you might automatically in your mind go to things, well, yeah, because some of these things are fleeting, and it's true, at some point, you have to put down the video games and go to school. Sometime you'll have to change what you want to do what you have to do. I'm getting more and more texts from my daughter down in college saying being an adult stinks. As she's having to make choices and do some things that she needs to do as opposed to doing what she wants to do at any given moment. And so certainly the things we think they're going to make us happy can be taken away. We may invest our life in a relationship and it falls apart. We may say, I really want to do this activity, or I really want this job, and these things don't happen. We can invest towards things that happen and they are taken away. But even if they're not taken away, it can get to the point where they're not making us happy anymore, where it's not enough. We said it was going to be good and it was great and it's still there, but it's still not enough. How many of you have ever bought something? Shoes, a car. Oh, Sean's raising his hand. I bought something. Thanks for that. But you buy something and you think, man, this is great. This is what I've wanted. I can't believe I got this deal. It's so good. I'm really excited about it. And now you hate it. I really wanted those shoes. And now I hate them. That because we aren't the same people that bought them. We aren't the same. And as we change, the things so this happiness becomes this elusive thing. We're constantly trying to control our circumstances, constantly trying to get the right things in our life that'll make us happy and avoid the things that are toxic and don't make us happy. And if we can just get more happiness, then life will be good. And it's such that it's temporary at best, but I suggest we're really just not going to find it. We can't control enough of our circumstances. We can't control enough of our lives. We can't control enough to make sure we have at any given moment all the right things for the good life and none of the stuff that would interfere with that. This world will not satisfy. And just for what it's worth, I think there's a theological reason for this, and I won't get too much into it, but I think something that happens a lot is we really think our happiness can be dependent on the people in our lives that we love. Our spouse, our children, our parents, our friends, our church, whatever it is. We have people, and if we can just, if they would just finally step up to the plate and finally be the kind of people I know they should be, then I could be happy. And I want you to know one of the reasons that'll never work is because the people you love cannot bear the burden of your happiness. They simply cannot do it. There's no way you're going to crush them with your expectations if their job is to live life in such a way as to make you happy. Because of this very thing that we talked about. Even if they somehow change and are willing to be the person you want them to be at a moment, later, that won't be enough for you. It'll never be enough. You're going to break them. So what's the alternative? Unhappiness? Well, nobody wants that, and I'm not claiming that. I'm not saying happiness is a bad thing. I think it's good when you can have a happy birthday. It's good when you can celebrate. There's nothing wrong with having good circumstances. And even for the most part, if you have a choice and there's equal moral worth to doing one of two things and one will make you happier, why not? But we're not going to find it by controlling our circumstances. And so what's the alternative? Well, I'll tell you what often we think the alternative is. Maybe. The alternative would have a good clicker. No, okay. One day she remembered that the only person who could make her happy was herself. So she took back her power, reclaimed her place in the world, and shined like never before. Have you heard that sentiment? That really, I'm going to find happiness, not out there, not by controlling my circumstances, not by having all the things right and all the people I have, but I'll find it within. The only person that can ever truly make you happy is yourself. Stop depending on everyone else. You know, they internalize that message that I can't control people, I can't control enough of everything else, and so I'll find it within. But it may not surprise you that I would like to make the argument that we're not going to find happiness from within either. I mean, the message is that we could, right? That you control your happiness. But what does that mean? What does that really mean for you? Does that mean that we ignore the circumstances around us? That regardless of other people, or does that mean we take more control and do more things to make sure we are happy? That I make choices in my life that make me happy? Well, I don't know that that's too different, maybe a little bit more selfish, but it's not too different than looking outside. Maybe it's all about, I'm just going to take my responsibility for myself and that's good enough. But the idea is that then we are self-creating this happiness. That what I do is, as I go about my life, I wake up in the morning way too early because I don't really want to be up at the sound of that alarm. And when I wake up and I'm already doing things I don't really want to do, and I have to have some things that I just do because they have to happen. Maybe it's expectations others put on me. Maybe it's, bills I've signed up for that I now have to pay. Maybe it's work that I've done or living out some consequences of choices I've made. But maybe it's just the stuff around me that happens. Oh, I didn't want a broken leg. No, I didn't want these health problems. No, I didn't want these whatever happened in my neighborhood or the wildfires in my county or whatever it is, and these things around us, and I didn't want that, and I don't like that, and what do I do with it? And I think the message that often comes with this idea that we can find happiness within ourselves is, well, let's just ignore it and let's look for the bright side, and let's always find the silver lining. And again, I don't have a problem with that idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to have a good outlook. But if that is your only strategy, then what it means is you're trying to play psychological tricks on yourself. You're trying to reform and get your brain to only look at stuff, and somehow you can control and will your own happiness by choosing what you see and choosing what you don't and ignoring the bad things and only choosing good things. And I don't know, how many of you feel competent as a happiness-generating machine? No one? I think comparatively, maybe, that some of us may be better at it than others. Some people have a generally smiley disposition, that they're able to see the good in things and quicker than they see the bad. But I think inevitably, if your experience is anything like mine, eventually, no matter how much you want to focus on the good, no matter how much you want to see and how much you try to just focus there, that at some point it can come crashing down. Because ultimately your happiness will be dependent on another flawed, mercurial, imperfect thing. Yourself. You will not be able to generate the happiness that you long for. I can't get there. And here's the thing. I believe wholeheartedly that our pursuit of that happiness, our pursuit of that desire is actually something within us that is deep. But once again, we have settled for far too little. And the result is what? Far too often we just give up. It's just, we become like the Stoics, an ancient philosophy that just says, good and bad happens, and you just take it all in stride, and you just keep going, and we just give up and become cynical or curmudgeonly. Yeah, I'll just sit out on my lawn and scream at the kids, and that's what life will be. Does anybody actually sit on their lawn anymore? I don't know, but I've always had that dream of having my little cane and sticking out there and get off my lawn. Or maybe you're still in a place where you're still pushing, you're still waiting, you're going to keep going, and you're going to say, no, I've got to try, and I've got to try harder because this unhappiness that I feel is not good, and it's not enough, and I get it. But is anybody else just tired yet? Tired of trying to manufacture all the happiness in their life? Tired of trying to control the world because there's only so much we can do? Wouldn't it be better to have the kind of strength to just keep going? To go and to find not only happiness, but something deeper, something even greater. Where do we get that kind of strength? I think the Bible makes a wild claim that we only find joy in Jesus. The kind of strength I'm talking about, Nehemiah 8:10, it's there in your worship folder, but we'll put it up here as well. Man, I am just this clicker. Ugh. Nehemiah said, go and enjoy choice food, sweet drinks, and some to those who have nothing prepared. This day is holy to our Lord. Without going into all the details of what's going on, I think it's a great phrase. Just this idea, it's like, go enjoy. Like there's some good food, some good drink, do that. And you know what? Interact with others who don't have enough, like bring them some and include them in that. That's great. This day is holy. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. The joy of the Lord. Not Bill's joy, not Bill's happiness, not the self-generating, or the fact that I live in the greatest country and the greatest place in the world at the greatest time and I have all the right circumstances and I'm so blessed, #blessed, that I've got all this stuff and I've got all these great things and so, that's where my happiness. No, it says the joy of the Lord is my strength. This theme is repeated. Look here, John 15. Jesus was talking. We've shared this thing with John 15 a lot. I'm the vine, you are the branches. Man remains in me and I in him. He will bear much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. We use John 15 a number of times, I think every week now. This is the third week in a row we've looked at it. And Jesus, as he's talking about this fruit and bearing much fruit and being connected to God, he says, I've told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My joy. I want my joy in you. See, Jesus is suggesting he, not you, is the generator of joy. That God himself generates joy, and it is simply a byproduct, a fruit of the Spirit of God in your life. That it's generated by Jesus. That it comes from him. That it is the natural state of someone who is sold out for God. Now, when I say that, I don't know what you hear. Maybe you hear that, okay, well, I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy with my life. I'm not happy with my choices. So I must not really be connected with God. Because if I was connected with God, then I would have happiness. And then we go back to our root of see happiness is, and happiness is having the right circumstances, having the right people, feeling all the right things inside. And that it's all these kind of things. And if I had that, so what's going on? The reason my life is chaotic, the reason things are hard, the reason things are difficult is because I'm not good enough with God. But see, that's, again, misunderstanding. That's pursuing the wrong thing. Joy is much deeper than happiness. That it is possible, I don't know if we believe this. I'm going to say it anyway, though. It is possible to be unhappy and still joyful. It is possible to grieve and to have joy. I mean, maybe you're going through a really hard time in your life. Maybe this is the most difficult thing that you've ever had to experience as you're struggling through something deep. Maybe circumstances that you've created, you made some bad choices, and now you got to live with the consequences. Maybe something that happened to you that didn't, and it's really hard. Maybe that's just a hard time of life. And you're like, what would joy even look like? Is it even possible? We're fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Jesus is the author and perfecter of our faith, the one who is starting out of, he is the reason we can have faith, that he is the author and perfecter of that. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. That Jesus, on his way to the cross, as he knew and he didn't want it, and he's sweating like blood, saying, please, Lord, take this away from me, but whatever your will, I will do it if I have to, but man, I don't want to do this. As he endured, as he knew not only the physical torture and the shame and the humiliation, but the actual separation from the Father as he's hanging on the cross and Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? And as he's going through all this, knowing all this is happening, the joy set before him, he did it. Joy. That is a deep and abiding, separate from our circumstances, which can be hard and tough and worthy of mourning. We literally have these flowers on the stage here because we had a memorial service yesterday. And while we can be happy for Diane and her entrance into heaven, we can mourn and be sad and upset that she's gone. That things can be bad, yet we still find joy. And there's a strength that comes from that, a strength to endure scorn, shame, difficulty, torture itself for the joy set before us. And here's what's amazing, is because of that, it can't be taken away. Look at John 16. So with you, now is your time of grief. This is Jesus talking, but I will see you again, and you will rejoice, and no one will take away your joy. No one will take away your joy. You know why the world can't take away your joy? Is because it didn't give it to you. The world can't take away your joy because it doesn't have it. Your joy comes from the Lord. Your joy comes from generated from Him, and so it can't be taken from you because the world never gave it to you. It can't be removed from you because it is inherent within you. As a follower of Jesus, it is going to bubble up. Now you might be saying, wait. I don't even know what that means then. Because I know Christians who are sad. I know Christians who are serious. And of course, but remember, joy is deeper. That you can be sad and have joy. So what does that even mean then? What does joy even mean if it doesn't mean at least happiness all the time? It means this deep, abiding faith and hope that God has got this. That no matter what I'm going through, no matter what I'm struggling, we get a win. See, the reason Jesus went to the cross is because He knew the ending. And He knew that the pain and the death and the torture and the separation, that wasn't the end. That the end was being able to have a clear path for you and I to be with Him. And He longs to give us that joy, that know that we will be able to have joy in the presence of the Lord, that regardless of our individual circumstances, that we're going to get through this and it's going to glorify God and we get to be with Him. Certainly in heaven, but even before then. You remember the story of Paul in prison? You know, as Paul is there, and this is recorded in Philippians. There's, of course, a couple times he was in prison, but he was in prison, and he is chained, and he is miserable because he's out there trying to do the work of God, and everything's working against him, and he is literally here in prison, and he is able to sing in joy. He is even able to say, hey, I even see how God is working despite the fact that I'm in here. The kingdom's winning. There's joy while I'm in chains. You see, because he had his eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of his faith. He longed to be with him. And because he always wants to be with Jesus, and Jesus says, I will always be with you, he is able to always find joy, even if he's not very happy at the moment. So you want joy in your life? I want joy in my life. Seems pretty clear what I need to do. John 15:5 again. I need to remain in Jesus. I need to abide. I need to live. I need to focus again and again and again, to remember. Because see, here's what's thinking is, while joy can't be taken from us, we can ignore it. See, I think it's more that we have the joy, but we have learned and teach ourselves to ignore it because we're too busy looking at other stuff. We're distracted by all the other things, and we need reminders. We need a weekly reminder where we come together as a church and we say, yes, Lord, remind me of my joy. Remind me of what you've given me. Remind me of your joy. And to remind that, and I need a daily time with God. It literally says, and then John, to that you remain in me and my word remains in you. There's something about hearing the words of God. Reading Scripture, listening to it, reflecting on what God has said, and to continue to hear that brings forth that joy. A joy that's based on hope. Remember those stupid Snickers commercials? It says when you're hungry, you're not you. Like one of my favorites is like they're all in a car and Aretha Franklin's back there and just going off on somebody, and they're like, dude, have a Snickers. And eats a Snickers, and it's just this guy. He says, yeah, because Bob, when you're hungry, you become a diva. And that imagery, you're hungry. When you're hungry, you're not you. And you become something else. Folks, I believe that one of the biggest barriers to our joy is we are hungry for the Word of God. And we have gone way too long between times of feasting on hearing what God is saying to us. And it robs us of our joy. So we've got to be reminded of it. We need to take hold of it. So I recommend a commitment this morning that says, however that works best for you, come hell or high water, come torture and death, come pain and difficulty, or annoying people in traffic, I'm going to endeavor to focus on Jesus and find the joy that he gives. Let's pray. Gracious Lord, I am so easily distracted. The stuff of life and the things that are just the busyness and the muchness, and so it's interesting, like I want to control more. But Lord, as best as I can here, I just want to give up. I want to give up trying to be the Lord of my own life. That I let you be Lord. That I try to live by your commands, or even if I think they're stupid. I want to hear your word. I want to remain in your word. I want to be obedient. And Lord, I've blown it. Man, I blow it all the time. And so once again, I pray for the billionth time, forgive me, Lord. Forgive me. I need you. And then maybe it would be easier to be obedient if the things that I struggled with, that I looked at and I was tempted with, or whatever it is, that I look and I say, that is trying to rob me of my joy. It's trying to rob me of the joy of the Lord and the strength that comes with it. So Lord, thank you. Thank you for the joy that you have given. I want to remain in you and experience it more fully. In Jesus' name, amen.
We're delighted that you joined us this morning, and for our announcements, it's really just an opportunity to encourage each of us to reach out to one another within our body, as well as continuing that wonderful culture of inviting. And so we wanted to remind you that our website is a great place to send people, but also to visit yourself to find out information about what is happening here at Linwood. It's also a wonderful opportunity to fill out a digital connection card, also to give online as well. So we are starting after service today with our very first Pray and Go activity, and again, pointing people to our website as we go along and pray for our community. And if the Pray and Go is something that you cannot participate with physically after service today, make sure that you connect with us at church to find out more and when the next opportunity is. And that's really our big announcements. If you're thinking about somebody, we encourage you to reach out. Send a text, give a call, connect. There is a lot happening within our very own body. Those who have health concerns, expecting new members to the family, as well as grieving for those who have gone on. So there's a lot happening. And if somebody comes to mind, reach out. Reach out. And with that, have a blessed week. We love you, church.